Great, thanks, Jackie.
Thank you so much, Angela, and thanks for the invitation to present because I really enjoyed the last presentation in particular, and I think our presentation is maybe the kind of antidote to that as well. So it'll be quite interesting to follow on from our presentation where they're embracing AI, where we're actually looking to maybe prevent use of AI in certain exams and how we've gone about that. I'm Jacqui Nicol, Digital Learning Lead in the Department of Academic Quality and Learning Enhancement in RGU. My colleague Emma Gray unfortunately can't be here because she doesn't work on a Friday, but I'll just pass on to my colleague Shonagh as well to introduce herself.
Hello. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the presentations this morning as well. It's links quite nicely to some of the things we're going to cover as well, which is great. But I'm Shonagh Douglas. I'm a lecturer in the Aberdeen Business School, and I've been working with Jacqui in our enhancement team on this project from the academic perspective.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Shonagh. Can everyone see my screen before we move on? Just to check. Thumbs up. Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, yeah. Come on, let's go forward. Okay, yeah, so to give a bit of background to our project, we have had sort of comprehensive online assessment for our coursework, I don't know, for about 6 or 7 years now. So we did that using our Moodle-based BLE. So all coursework's been online, all marking and feedback's been online for quite a long time. But there were quite a lot of variety of different practices in coursework in particular, and exams. So in 2023, RGU introduced our assessment and feedback standard, and that did a number of things. It looked at the number of assessments, so the load of assessments for students. It looked at scheduling, delivery of pre-assessment information, and calculation of grades and feedback. So we had a standard for coursework and reducing the number of assessments for students. But for exams in particular, we still had a variety of sort of post-pandemic practices. So we had a large variety of different delivery mechanisms. So we still had remote exams online, which students were completing really without any invigilation or any monitoring of their behaviour during the exams. We had a lot of written exams, which were highly invigilated in traditional exam environments. And increasingly, we had on-campus PC-based exams, so a big demand for that across the university, using our VLE in the main and Moodle quiz and Moodle assignment to deliver those exams and for students to submit. So we had as a result of the feedback standard and the difference in exam practices, we established a second digital assessment project in 2023 with the aim of improving digital exams to make that more sustainable to deliver for the university, to enhance the consistency and quality of the experience for students and the receipt of assessment feedback overall for coursework and exams, and to really seek efficiencies in the setup and administration of the assessment process in the whole, in the round, because it takes a lot of time to, an effort for us to do that. In fact, we just actually documented our whole exam process as part of this project, and we produced a document which was about 50 pages long and had input from everybody from estate and janitors checking rooms before exams, through to AQLE, from academic staff, our printing department for written exams. So there's a huge amount of effort that's taken place. We want to capture that and make that whole process more sustainable. So as part of that project, we did a phase 1 data gathering exercise for digital exams and really tried to find out what our staff and students wanted to see improved and enhanced as part of that exam experience. And academic integrity was highlighted as a really important factor in that. I think this came about in particular because of the rise of AI during the time when the project was started. And also lots of other factors, the fact that there was increasing PC-based exams, still remote exams as well, and students themselves felt that the equity of that could be improved as well as staff. So that's the background to our project, and so we decided to do some pilot for various parts of the of our exam delivery, but with Shonagh, we had in particular a challenge because her exams were PC based on campus, but she'd encountered a number of challenges in academic integrity as part of that experience. And those challenges really were very varied. So overall, an increase in AI use by students for all our different assessment types. For Shonagh's example, we had exams being delivered on 3 different exam environments. So we had traditional desktop PCs being used in PC labs for exam delivery. We also had rooms of laptops being used for exam delivery, and also we use some labs, we have thin client machines as well, where the software is delivered by servers and just consumed by the device in the classroom. Feedback and grading has also been a challenge holistically in RGU, because we have our own bespoke criteria and reference grading scheme, which has been quite difficult to implement technically for exams and coursework, because no other proprietary systems support that grading scheme as well. So along with increasing AEA students, so increasing use of rooms across campus with different device types, and we don't have a designated assessment centre, so lots of invigilation, lots of support for AEA students required in different rooms across campus. And invigilation is there for Shonagh's exams, but there have been concerns over potential integrity issues even within in that invigilated environment. Another aspect and challenge, which means our exam delivery isn't very sustainable at the moment, is that if to follow up on any integrity issues, that can be a very time-consuming process, and the process currently has been, or historically has involved, getting IT logs from our IT department, so PC logs, and going through and analysing those as well. So overall, the process hasn't been very sustainable. So those are the challenges. So I'll now hand over to Shonagh, who's going to talk a little bit more about the academic drivers on her course in particular.
Thanks, Jacqui. So yeah, I think the first driver probably for us wanting to move to the PC-based exams was really just trying to integrate the IT skills with actual module content. I guess in line with Claire's presentation, I think it was earlier on that kind of employability skills. I work in the business school. I'm struggling to think of many roles that our graduates would go on to where they're using pen and paper rather than doing it on a PC. We did ask the students as well before we moved to that, but I'll be honest, their response was almost like, what a stupid question. Of course we want PC-based exams, and we're responding with things like, hello, it's the 21st century, and I've put a couple of those other quotes in there too. So it was really, really heavily supported by the students. They really felt pen and paper was quite a backwards step, as Jacqui said, after COVID in particular, when they got used to using PC-based exams. Another big driver was the development of higher level skills. And I think as a school, we are quite highly accredited by professional bodies. Those accreditations often drive a requirement for examinations rather than coursework. But we know the education literature, but also what we see in the classroom as well, that there are problems in terms of skill development with examinations, in that they often sort of promote more memorisation rather than these higher level skills. We've done a couple of initiatives in the school. So one of them was around implementing the UNESCO SDG competencies, and we wanted our courses to develop those progressively through the years with the students. Those same skills, a lot of those skills overlapped with what we want to see in employers want to see increasingly so things, the critical thinking, the problem solving, and as we now also, like the last presentation, looking at AI and the kind of competency skills that students need, we actually find they tied up quite closely to those SDG UNESCO sustainability competencies as well. So by moving the exams onto computers, what we felt we were able to do was actually change the style of what we were asking students to do. So if it's completely closed book, a lot of their attention is on that memorisation and is on sort of regurgitating that, I guess, in the exam, and a lot of mind space and time's taken up with that. By going on to the computer-based exams, we're able to give them a lot more information. So, we don't want them to memorise standards, bits of legislation. We can give them annual reports, we can give them sustainability reports, we've done that. We can give them, pre-seen case studies. We can give them a lot more information either before or in the exam. So we're saying, like, don't memorise this, you can cut and paste from these bits, extract from it, that's absolutely fine. And then, use the time to do the analysis to move us up that skill level. And the same in some of our more numeric papers, students are now given Excel. So, the basic calculations, they can do them very quickly, and then they're able to do a lot more with that in terms of, analysis, that problem solving and things like that as well. So that was one of our definitely one of our key drivers for it. Mentioned the professional bodies already, and we do need this examinations. They're not going away, but we've worked with them to what the format of that can be, and they've been very happy to do that and quite encouraging of what we're doing as well. Fair and sustainable, Jacqui's probably covered some of these points already in terms of how we actually invigilated it, because the students have got so much more information and resources and such like available to them. They're using a lot of different programmes. It's much harder for a few invigilators in the room to really keep track of that. What websites are allowed on, what are they not, what files should they be open, what is that definitely just started in this one. So we wanted some kind of way to make sure that all students were, getting fair treatment, and nobody was getting or able to take an unfair fair advantage. And of course, we've managed to, not eliminate, but certainly reduce the huge amount of photocopying that was done previously as well. So that was probably our main academic driver. So Jacqui, I'll pass back to you.
Thanks, Shonagh. So because Shonagh's course was quite complex and our exams were quite complex, the students on the accounting and finance course were using Excel and other resources within their exam. We couldn't use a proprietary system like question mark or to deliver, or even just Moodle alone to deliver exams. So they had to use a variety of different tools. So completing questions using Excel, uploading those into Moodle. We couldn't just use a proprietary system. So we needed to get a solution to be able to, I suppose, monitor and dissuade, prevent students from using any other tools within their exam at the time. So we looked for solutions to what could be a deterrent to the students being tempted by any academic misconduct. And we found a system called Vaon, which is a free and open source software for monitoring and controlling computers across a whole site and across a network and across multiple platforms as well. So this is commonly used in schools, but our School of Computing and Engineering and RGU had used that to monitor some of their students in class when they were doing learning activities, so they could actually drop into a student's desktop when they were doing coding activities, to look at what they were doing and provide support. But Vaon also has a screen recording add-on that we found. So we thought this would be a solution, potential solution for deterring academic misconduct within exams. So Shonagh was keen to trial this out in her accounting and finance course. So we worked with Shonagh and the course team, with IT, with our other colleagues in academic quality and learning enhancement, and with our timetabling team as well, to coordinate the exam and the setup of that. The students are informed about the recording before the exam itself, and there are no extra steps for them to complete. So they just go on to their PC and a PC lab as normal for an exam. They do everything else that they would normally do in an exam. And when they log in, there's actually they just log on to the VLE, they load up Excel and anything else that they are allowed in that exam. But they're unaware during the exam process itself that they are being recorded, apart from being told about that, of course. So we have used this now, this approach in pilots for mock and summative exams for 2 semesters now, Shonagh, is that right? I think so. So throughout the whole of this academic year. And so we have given students a chance to have mock exams using this recorded format, so that they're aware of that. They understand what's going to happen when they come to the summative exam. So that is key for their acceptance of the whole process. So the pilot had, in October, we had the first 3 mock exams in October last year. So we had 170 students taking part in those modules, sitting all together in one room in their individual cohorts. In December, we had 8 modules held during a 2-week exam period for summative exams. So that was 180 students, but held throughout 11 rooms. So that had a whole range of different device types. So the 3 device types that we have in classes. And in April, just last month, we had another 7 modules. So again, 180 students over 13 rooms. So students in the main exam rooms, but also AEA students being in individual rooms or in small groups. So I think overall, that's gone quite smoothly. I thought before we talk about the feedback, I thought I'd just show the Vaon master interface. So you can see on the left-hand side here, I've got a list of rooms. So as the master recorder or monitor user, you can see the rooms. So you can just check a room to record or to monitor, and then you can see all the PCs, the machines that are logged into, students have logged into. Here I've just got PC names, but when students are logged in, you can see the student ID number, so you can identify the students who are logged in. You can click on a square and then you can actually see a live feed from that student's desktop, and there's a recording button here at the top, so you can record, and that will record all the machines that are logged in that particular room. So you can monitor multiple rooms across campus at the same time. So this solution really allowed us to do that. It was very flexible for the profile of students that we had on Shonagh's modules. Okay. Yeah. So the process for the initial implementation, we had to really think hard about how to do this. So we had, as I mentioned, we had coordination between the school, the digital assessment project team, our IT department, and timetabling as well. So we had to identify which modules would be using Vaon.
Oh, sorry, that's 1 minute left, Jacqui.
Okay, sorry, we identify all the rooms that were allocated, and we really had to meet weekly to make sure that was going to work correctly. We had to configure the IT and install the agents and all the devices. We had to test it beforehand to make sure it worked. notify everyone involved and also the invigilators, and give students additional instructions. And on the day, the project team gave support to the course team to record all the exams as well. Academic feedback, I will pass back on to Shonagh for that.
Okay, I'll do it super quick and say, it's been really, really positive. To summarise, to say we've really just had no integrity issues that we've really actually wanted to go and investigate. I think it's just a huge deterrent to the students. Student feedback, on the whole, we've done, as usually said, it had no impact. That doesn't actually sound positive, but it is positive when we sort of said, what do you mean? And then went, well, it just didn't affect what we did. The vast majority of students aren't intending to do anything they shouldn't. It was just there in the background. Did it interfere with what they were doing? So that's what they meant by that. It was fine. It just didn't impact us. But knowing they've got that fair environment as well was well received. I think that's. You got another slide, Jacqui, or is that our time up?
I do have one. I just wanted to say one unintended benefit was that you did suspect one student. But because we had a recording, Shonagh was able to look at that recording and actually prove that the student had not attempted to do anything which they shouldn't have done. So it was a benefit for the student as well, in that individual case as well. So we had some benefits which we didn't realise we would have. So quickly, next steps, we want to develop the process further. So under what circumstances should we use the desktop recording for exams? So what kind of exams should we use that for? Is it only PSRB accredited exams, or do we want to record other ones? Under what circumstances should we view recordings to make that sustainable? You can't view everything, but what are the triggers which would say we should look at a recording? What's the retention policy for recordings? How long should we keep them? Who has access to recording as well? How do we devolve that out to schools? So the considerations there are scalability, how to make it sustainable, device types as well. Thin clients been a bit of a problem, so do we continue to use that or not? And also how we're transparent with our students in the future for exams which use this kind of desktop monitoring. And that's it. So thank you very much for listening.
Thanks very